The Bloody History of Sugar Introduction. The history of sugar is a tale not just of sweetness but also of exploitation and suffering. Rising significantly in demand in the 16th century, sugar's production led to the establishment of brutal labor systems, particularly in the Caribbean and Americas. This podcast explores the dark side of sugar's history, examining the economic, social, and human costs of its production. Origins of sugar production. Sugarcane, originally from Southeast Asia, was introduced to Europe by Arab traders. By the 15th century, it had become a luxury item in Europe. The Portuguese and Spanish empires recognized its profitability and began cultivating sugarcane in their colonies. The rise of sugar plantations. The Caribbean islands, with their ideal climate for sugarcane, became the epicenter of sugar production. European colonizers established vast plantations, requiring a large labor force to plant, harvest, and process the cane. The Transatlantic slave trade. To meet labor demands, European colonizers turned to the transatlantic slave trade. From the 16th to the 19th century, millions of Africans were forcibly transported to the Americas. Conditions on the Middle Passage were horrific, with high mortality rates due to disease, malnutrition, and abuse. Life on the plantations. Slaves on sugar plantations endured grueling labor from dawn till dusk, with little rest and inadequate food. The work was dangerous, with many suffering injuries from machetes or burns from boiling sugar juice. Punishments for disobedience were severe, often involving whipping, mutilation, or even death. Economic impact. The sugar industry generated immense wealth for European nations, funding further colonial expansion and contributing to the Industrial Revolution. However, this wealth was built on the backs of enslaved people who received no compensation for their labor. Abolition movements. By the late 18th and early 19th centuries, abolitionist movements gained momentum. Activists highlighted the brutal realities of slavery, leading to the gradual abolition of the slave trade and slavery itself. In 1807, the British Parliament passed the Abolition of the Slave Trade Act, and by 1833, slavery was abolished in most British colonies. Legacy and memory. The legacy of the sugar industry and its reliance on slave labor continues to impact the descendants of enslaved people and the economies of former colonies. The story of sugar is a reminder of the human cost behind everyday commodities and the importance of acknowledging and addressing historical injustices. Conclusion. The history of sugar is a complex narrative of sweetness marred by bitterness. By understanding the full story, we can better appreciate the profound human costs of our global economy and strive for a more equitable future.